Claire Anderson sat at the bus stop in the pouring rain. Her 4-year-old daughter Emma clutched against her chest, both of them soaked and shivering. Claire's worn coat did little to protect them from the downpour, and her last $7, all the money she had in the world, had just blown away when she'd tried to check how much was left. She was trying not to cry in front of Emma, but it was becoming impossible. They'd been evicted that morning. Everything they owned was in 2 garbage bags beside them on the bench. Claire had been calling shelters all day, but every single one was full. It was just after 9 p.m., and she had nowhere to take her daughter for the night. "Mommy, why are you sad?" Emma asked, her small hand touching Claire's wet cheek. "I'm just tired, baby. We'll be okay. But where are we going to sleep?" "I'm figuring that out, sweetheart." "Don't worry," but Claire was terrified. She had no family, no close friends with room to take them in, no money for a motel. Her ex-husband had disappeared years ago, leaving her with nothing but debt and a restraining order. She'd been working as a waitress until the restaurant closed unexpectedly last week, and without that income, she couldn't make rent. Now she was homeless with a 4-year-old daughter and no idea what to do. "Don't cry." "Mommy," Emma said suddenly, pointing across the street. "Maybe that man will help us." Claire looked up through her tears and saw a man in an expensive suit getting out of a black luxury car. He was holding a briefcase and heading toward a high-rise building, clearly oblivious to the 2 desperate people huddled at the bus stop. "Baby, we can't just ask strangers for help." But Emma had already slipped off the bench and was running toward the man, her teddy bear clutched under one arm. "Emma!" Claire scrambled after her daughter, panic rising. Emma reached the man just as he was about to enter the building. "Excuse me, mister? Can you help my mommy? She's crying and we don't have anywhere to sleep." The man stopped, looking down at the small, soaked child with surprise. Then his eyes traveled to Claire, who'd caught up to Emma and was pulling her back apologetically. "I'm so sorry," Claire said quickly. "My daughter didn't mean to bother you. Emma, we can't just—" "Wait," the man said, his voice calm but commanding. He knelt down to Emma's level. "What's your name?" "Emma, I'm 4. This is my mommy, Claire. We're very wet because it's raining and we don't have a home anymore. Mommy's been crying, but she tries to hide it so I won't be scared. But I think we need help." The man looked up at Claire and she saw something in his eyes, recognition of desperation maybe, or memory of hard times. Whatever it was, his expression softened. "My name is Nathan," he said to Emma, then stood to address Claire. "Is what she said true? You have nowhere to go tonight?" Claire's pride wanted her to lie, to protect what little dignity she had left, but looking at her daughter's hopeful face, she couldn't. "We were evicted this morning. I lost my job last week. I've called every shelter in the city. They're all full. I don't know what to do." Nathan was quiet for a moment, studying them both. Then he pulled out his phone. "I own this building. There's a vacant, furnished apartment on the 6th floor. It's been staged for showing potential buyers, but no one's scheduled to see it for another week. You can stay there tonight, both of you. Get warm, get dry, get some sleep. Tomorrow we'll figure out next steps." Claire stared at him. "I can't pay you. I don't have any money. I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm offering you shelter for the night because your daughter was brave enough to ask for help when you needed it most." "Why would you do this for strangers?" Nathan's expression darkened briefly. "Because 15 years ago, I was the kid asking strangers for help while my mother cried. Most people ignored us. One person didn't. That person changed our lives. Maybe I can do the same for you." Tears streamed down Claire's face, not from despair this time, but from overwhelming relief and gratitude. Nathan led them into the building, past a doorman who looked questionably at the soaking wet woman and child, and up to a beautiful 6th-floor apartment. It was furnished elegantly with a full kitchen, comfortable living room, and 2 bedrooms. "There's food in the kitchen. It's just staging. But it's real and it's edible," Nathan explained. "Towels in the bathroom. Clean sheets on the beds. I'll have the front desk bring up some clothes for both of you. They keep emergency supplies for situations like this." "I don't know what to say," Claire whispered. "Say you'll let me help. Say you'll stay here tonight and then tomorrow we'll talk about options." "Why are you being so kind to us?" Nathan smiled at Emma, who was already exploring the apartment with wide-eyed wonder. "Because she reminded me that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for help. And sometimes the most important thing you can do is say yes when someone asks. That night, after Emma was asleep in one of the bedrooms, Claire sat in the living room and cried. Properly cried for the first time in weeks, releasing all the fear and stress and desperation she'd been holding in for her daughter's sake. Nathan had returned with Chinese food and warm clothes, and now he sat across from her, letting her cry without judgment. "I'm sorry," Claire said when she could finally speak. "I don't usually fall apart like this." "You're not falling apart. You're releasing pressure. There's a difference. I feel like such a failure. I'm a mother. I'm supposed to protect my daughter. Instead, I'm homeless. You're homeless because a series of circumstances beyond your control collided at the worst possible time. That doesn't make you a failure. The fact that Emma feels safe enough to approach strangers for help means you've taught her that the world has good people in it. That's incredible parenting, or incredibly naive parenting. Emma ran to me because you've taught her that people can be kind. Yes, the world has dangers, but it also has helpers. You raised a child who can recognize potential helpers. That's a gift." Over the next week, Nathan helped Claire in ways that went far beyond just providing temporary shelter. He connected her with one of his company's HR directors who helped her find a job. He paid for a month's rent on a modest but safe apartment. He arranged for Emma to attend a good preschool with subsidized tuition. "This is too much," Claire protested when Nathan handed her the lease for the new apartment. "You've already done so much. I can't accept." "Yes, you can. Claire, I'm not doing this out of pity. I'm doing it because I have resources I'll never use and you have needs. Those resources can meet. It's that simple. But I can't pay you back. I don't want you to pay me back. I want you to pay it forward someday when you're in a position to help someone else." Claire had never experienced such generosity without strings attached. She kept waiting for Nathan to reveal ulterior motives, for him to want something from her, to make demands, to collect on the debt she owed. But he never did. He simply helped, then stepped back, making sure she was stable but not interfering in her life. Emma adored Nathan. She'd appointed herself his friend and insisted he come to her preschool's open house, her first dance recital, her 5th birthday party. Nathan always came, showing up in his expensive suits but getting down on the floor to play with Emma and her new friends without any concern for his appearance. "He's a good man," Claire's new co-worker said one day after seeing Nathan drop off a forgotten lunch for Emma. "Is he your boyfriend?" "No, he's just a friend who helped us when we needed it. Honey, the way he looks at you is not just friends. That man is smitten." Claire had been trying not to notice the way Nathan looked at her, with warmth and interest that went beyond charitable concern. She'd been trying not to notice her own growing feelings for the man who'd saved her and her daughter from homelessness, because what could she possibly offer someone like Nathan? She was a single mother working as an administrative assistant. He was a millionaire real estate developer. They existed in completely different worlds. 6 months after that rainy night at the bus stop, Nathan asked Claire to dinner. Not with Emma as a buffer, but just the two of them. "Is this a date?" Claire asked nervously. "I'd like it to be, but if that makes you uncomfortable, we can keep it as friends." "Nathan, you saved my life. You gave me and Emma everything we needed when we had nothing. How can we possibly date? The power dynamic is, I helped you when you needed help. You've been standing on your own for months now. You have your own job, your own apartment, your own life. I'm not your savior or your benefactor anymore, Claire. I'm just a man who'd like to take you to dinner because I enjoy your company. And if I say yes, what happens when this doesn't work out? Emma's attached to you. I can't let her get hurt. Then let's not let it not work out. Let's try. Honestly, try." "Because, Claire, I've been falling for you since the night Emma pointed at me through the rain and said, 'Maybe that man will help us.'" You were soaking wet and crying and completely vulnerable, and all you cared about was protecting your daughter. That's the moment I started falling. I was a mess. You were beautiful. You still are. Not despite your struggles, but because of how you've handled them. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met. They dated carefully, slowly, making sure Emma was comfortable with the transition from mommy's friend Nathan to mommy's boyfriend Nathan. Emma, for her part, was thrilled. "Does this mean Nathan can stay for movie nights and breakfast?" she asked excitedly. "Sometimes, yes," Claire confirmed. Good. I like Nathan. He makes you smile for real, not pretend smile. Claire's ex-husband showed up unexpectedly 8 months into her relationship with Nathan, suddenly interested in his daughter now that Claire's circumstances had improved. He tried to claim custody rights, threatening legal action. Nathan sat with Claire while she cried in fear of losing Emma. Then he did something that sealed Claire's love for him forever. He called his lawyer, not to take over or control the situation, but to simply offer resources. "This is your fight, not mine," Nathan said. "I can't fix this for you, but I can make sure you have the best legal representation possible. You'll make the decisions. I'll just support whatever you choose." The custody battle was brutal, but Claire won. Her ex-husband's years of abandonment and lack of support worked against him, and the judge saw through his sudden interest in fatherhood. When it was over, Claire collapsed into Nathan's arms, exhausted and relieved. "Thank you for not trying to take over," she said, "for letting me fight my own battle. You're one of the strongest people I know, Claire. You didn't need me to save you from this. You just needed support while you saved yourself." 2 years after Emma had pointed to a stranger in the rain and asked for help, Nathan proposed. Not in some grand public gesture, but in the apartment where Claire and Emma had first found shelter, the staging apartment that had since been converted to a community resource for homeless families. "This is where it started," Nathan said, kneeling in the living room where Claire had cried that first night. "This is where Emma asked for help and I said yes, and both our lives changed. Claire, you taught me that helping people isn't about charity or pity. It's about recognizing shared humanity. You taught me that strength isn't never needing help. It's being brave enough to accept it when you do. You taught me what love looks like when it's built on mutual respect rather than rescue. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Claire said through tears. "Yes to all of it," Emma cheered from the doorway where she'd been watching. "I told you he would help us!" "I told you, Mommy." At their wedding, Emma served as flower girl, beaming with pride. During the reception, Nathan's toast made everyone cry. 3 years ago, I was walking into my building on a rainy night, focused on work and oblivious to everything else. Then a little girl with a teddy bear ran up to me and said, "Can you help my mommy?" I could have said no. I could have kept walking. Most people would have. But something about Emma's bravery, this 4-year-old who was scared and homeless but still believed a stranger might help, stopped me. I said yes. I offered them shelter for one night. That one night became the foundation of everything. Claire taught me that helping others isn't about being their savior. It's about being their support while they save themselves. Emma taught me that sometimes the bravest people are the ones who ask for help. They both taught me what love looks like when it's real and mutual and built on respect. Claire's toast was simpler. 3 years ago, I was sitting at a bus stop in the rain with my daughter, completely out of options. Emma saw a stranger across the street and said, "Maybe that man will help us." I thought she was being naive. Children shouldn't approach strangers. But Emma saw something I didn't. She saw kindness. She saw someone who might say yes. Nathan did say yes. He gave us shelter, then support, then respect, then love. He didn't save us. We saved ourselves with his help. There's a difference. He didn't try to control or fix us. He just provided resources and stepped back, letting us rebuild our lives. That's the kind of help that actually helps. That's the kind of love that actually lasts. Years later, when Emma was older and understood more of the story, she'd ask about that night in the rain. "I don't really remember being scared," Emma would say. "I just remember thinking that man looked kind and maybe he could help Mommy stop crying." "You were incredibly brave," Nathan would tell her. Most people, children or adults, wouldn't have asked for help. They would have been too proud or too scared, but you helped us. So I was right to ask. You were right to ask. And I was lucky you chose me. Why did you help us? Most people wouldn't. Because when I was 7, my mother and I were homeless for 6 months. We slept in shelters and cars and friends' couches. Dozens of people turned us away. One person, a woman who ran a small cafe, gave my mother a job and let us sleep in the storage room until we could afford our own place. That woman saved us. When you ran up to me asking for help, I saw myself. I saw my mother. I couldn't walk away. So you helped us because someone helped you? Exactly. That's how it works. You receive help when you need it, then you give help when you can. It's a chain of kindness. Your mom and I are planning to continue that chain. We're opening a foundation to help homeless families, because one person helped us, and we want to help others. The foundation Nathan and Claire created, called Emma's Hope, named after the little girl who'd been brave enough to ask a stranger for help, went on to house and support hundreds of families over the years. They converted buildings into temporary housing, provided job placement services, offered child care and education programs. We're not saviors, Claire would always tell the families they helped. We're just people who had resources and chose to share them. You'll save yourselves. We're just here to make it a little easier. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below telling us about a time when you asked a stranger for help, or about a moment when you said yes to someone in need. Your stories remind us that millionaires are sometimes former homeless children, that 4-year-olds can be braver than adults, that asking for help is an act of courage, not weakness, and that the stranger you approach in desperation might just become your family. Until next time, remember that good people exist. The children see kindness adults miss, that one yes can change everything, and that the person crying at the bus stop might just be waiting for someone brave enough to notice them.